Okay, it's 6:01, so I'd like to call the September 13th Safety Services and Licensing Committee meeting to order. Clerk, can you please take the roll?
Councilwoman Vargas,
Present.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Present.
Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Present.
Councilman Riley,
Present.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Present.
Council President Paplaskas.
Present.
Okay, thank you. And I'll entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move to the public hearings portion of our meeting. And we will start off with an auto repair license. It's Auto Empire Auto Sales and Service. And I would like to know if there is anyone from the public that's wishing to speak for or against this license. We'll start with online.
I see no public comment.
My apologies, I'm reading the wrong agenda from September. So I'm looking for a holiday sales license. This is a new license. It's continued from the September meeting because there was a fail to appear. So this is for Joseph A. Bank. Is there anyone here from Joseph A. Bank? Right, solicitor, would I continue it to the next meeting?
It's really up to the committee. You can either, you could continue it or you could grant it in absentia. It seems to be a holiday license, which under the statute is basically automatically granted unless there's a reason not to grant it. It's a retail establishment.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. I'll entertain a motion.
I have a question for Solicitor, is it a requirement that the owner has to be here or not? Is that
Well,
something in the
not-
law that says?
Usually we prefer that, Councilwoman. Like I said, that's why I said it's really pretty much up to the committee how they want to handle it. But being that this is a holiday license, Joseph Bank is a national retail chain, and it looks like they're just looking to operate on certain holidays. And under Rhode Island state law, essentially, the wording is the licensing board shall grant the license, and they're entitled to be open on holidays the same way as they can be during normal business hours. So again, it's within the discretion of the committee. I don't think it's indispensable that they be here for this type of license, but it's up to you. If you want them here, then I would suggest continuing it to November, or you could grant it without them.
No, if we do it for one, we need to do it for all.
I
So
understand. Well,
that's why.
I understand. That's why it's totally up to you.
Madam Clerk, were they re-notified?
Yes, we sent them a letter indicating that the application was continued to dates and time stated.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the holiday sale license for Joseph A. Banks Clothiers.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, we're moving on to a public entertainment license. This is also continued from September for fail to appear, and this is for 1401 Park Place. Jose Toledo. Is there anyone here to speak for or against this license as a member of the public, in person or online? Okay, is Mr. Toledo present? Hey, could you come forward, please? Can you state your name and address for the record?
Jose Toledo, 6 Gale Court, Coventry.
Thank you, Mr. Toledo. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, for discussion. Mr. Toledo, could you please tell us a little bit about your business and the license you're seeking to?
I have a bar and grill, and the license that I'm looking for is just indoor entertainment.
Okay, thank you. And you have been granted this license in the past
Yes, I
for a daily license,
Yes.
correct?
have.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any questions from members of the committee?
To the chair.
Council,
I'll defer to,
Hours of operation,
11:30 to 1.
Look-
11:30 in the morning to 1.
7 days a week.
7 days a week, correct.
Council President?
thank you, Chair Renzulli. Sir, I represent the area right behind your business where the entertainment license is going to go. I know you had it for St. Mary's Feast and you had no issues. Just try and be cognizant of the neighborhood that's just beyond the bike path, because we've had entertainment licenses granted in that plaza and the plaza next door in the past. And it certainly turned into issues at times for some of the neighbors. So if you can just try and be cognizant of that, that would be great.
We stopped the entertainment around 12:15, 12:30. We
Okay,
didn't go till full 1 o'clock.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay, Mr. Toledo, I welcome this license for you. I've been to your establishment. It's great. So I'll just ask the clerk to please take a roll.
Councilwoman Vargas. Yes. Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to a victualling license. This is a new license continued from the September meeting for failure to appear. It's from Mindful Wellness and Spa. Is someone present from Mindful Wellness and Spa, perhaps Brenda Estrada? Is Brenda online?
I see no public comment. If the chair could remind folks that they do need to raise their hand.
So if you're online, could you please raise your hand if you would like to speak? What's the command from a phone versus on a computer? And you can
there's
try
no
star
other
6 if
attendees.
you're calling by phone. Okay, there doesn't appear to be anyone here. Solicitor, would this be different because it's not a holiday sales license? So they're not already licensed. It's a completely new license. So I personally feel as though we should perhaps continue it again and contact the person. But if we have to stay the same as we just did earlier, then we can do that.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I agree with you. There's a distinction between this situation and the holiday license. I mean, Joseph Bank is an established national chain that's been in business forever. That's merely an extension into holiday. This, on the other hand, like you said, is brand new. We don't know anything about the applicant, so.
Okay, thank you so much.
to
Madam
continue.
Clerk, do we? Go ahead.
Motion to continue?
Second.
Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can you be sure to re-notify the applicant? I think twice is as far as we push it forward. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to take the agenda out of order. I know we have a specific renewal in which an attorney has another client to get to as well.
Motion to take the agenda out of order.
Second,
Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to move the Wine and Liquor Company, Inc., DBA Christie's Liquors, to the top of this list, and I'd ask the solicitor to take over now.
So, Madam Chair, I have been in contact with both attorneys in this situation, Mr. Murray and Mr. DeSimone. They're both here on behalf of their respective clients. I believe Mr. Murray is here on behalf of the applicant seeking the renewal. Mr. DeSimone is representing some objectors. So since Mr. DeSimone is the objector, normally we would do these renewals, as you know, as a block, and they're pretty much automatic. I would ask Mr. DeSimone to put his objection on the record, then have Mr. Murray come up, respond to that, and then I will tell the committee, give them my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Mr. DeSimone, if you'd like to come forward.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, members of the committee, for taking this out of order. I do have another matter this evening, so I really appreciate that. I'm here on behalf of,
Could you just state your name and your address?
oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
It's, Louis DeSimone, 1554 Cranston Street, Cranston, Rhode Island. And I'm here on behalf of two license holders, Class A license holders in the city. Oaklawn Liquors, which is also doing business as Gasparo's on Oakland Avenue, and MAB, which is Atwood Liquors, which is located on Atwood Avenue, and both in the city of Cranston. The license before you, as I'm sure you're aware, on November 4th, 2019, a transfer was approved to this particular applicant, the Wine and Liquor Company. The transfer at that time, at least in my opinion, the license could not be issued. There was no location for one thing. There are also several conditions precedent to issuing a license. Those being things of tax certificate from the state, a certificate of occupancy for the premises where the building is going to be placed, or where the license is going to be housed. You need a proper premise for the license, which I would contend is a proper address. And I think at the time of the transfer, there was an address given of several different locations within the same parcel. So there were certain conditions precedent to that. There's also conditions that are required by the city itself with respect to payment of taxes. The local fire marshal needs to approve the location and give you a certificate, as well as the building office providing that same certificate of occupancy. So there are some general conditions that are required. What I would point this board to is Rhode Island General Laws, Section 3.5.16.1, which I've also cited in a written objection, that provides that when a holder ceases operation of a Class A license, this is for more than 90 days, the local licensing authority shall, upon hearing, abandon that license. So there is an abandonment requirement by the Rhode Island state statute. That abandonment requirement kicks in after 90 days. There is language that a reasonable period of time can be granted, not to exceed 1 year. We are approximately 2 years from the transfer date of this license. So this license, at least as far as I know, has not operated since at least November of 2019. We're at approximately a 2-year hiatus on the license. I would also point the board to Rule 14 of the commercial licensing regulations issued by the Department of Business Regulations, which provides that all retail licenses have a 1-year period to complete the conditions of a transfer. And again, I would tell you that a location is tantamount, a certificate from the fire marshal and from the local fire authority is required. There are requirements. I did attempt to go back and get the minutes of that meeting just on Friday when I saw that the meeting was posted for this evening. I could not get those minutes. They weren't filed at the Secretary of State's website. Although most of your minutes are there, there was a glitch apparently, and it wouldn't let me grab these minutes, so to speak. So I couldn't see the minutes of the hearing. I don't know whether there was any discussion of these items at that hearing. If there was stenographer present, I can go back and contact the clerk and, you know, get the stenographic record certainly from that time period, just to see what, if any, other conditions may have been placed on the license. So I cite you to those two rules, which provide for an extension of time, but not to exceed a year. So that would bring us certainly not to the present point, because we're at a stage now where this license still cannot operate, because as I understand it, the building is still not built. We're still months, if not a year away from occupancy. So what I would suggest to the committee and request on behalf of my clients is that that license not be renewed tonight. So I would suggest that it not be renewed, and at some point I would request that the committee have a hearing on abandonment in accordance with the statute. I would like to point the board to another rule, which is Rule 1.427 of the Department of Regulations rules. It's Chapter 30 in the Commercial Licensing, Subchapter 10, which requires all licenses to identify a premise for operations, and a final determination on those operations has to be made upon approval by a local board. And I would suggest to you that you can't do that tonight, because there is not a final location. Although there is a new address, if you will, there is not a final location, because there can't be a CO at that location, because the building can't be occupied at this point. I would also refer you to the D'Ambra matter, which I know your solicitor is going to reference, because that is one of the controlling DBR factors in this case. And one of the things that was a case in which a license was denied on this basis. I would point out two things to the board: that the hearing officer, in fact, denied that license for non-operation. The director of the department did overrule that, and the matter was filed in the Superior Court. I'm not certain of what happened to the court case, whether it went forward or was dismissed, but I can point out to the, it was a 2015 case, I believe. I can point out to the board that that was with respect to a BV license. This particular case involves a Class A license. I would urge the board to be more stringent on a Class A license, because a Class A license, as this board and as your counsel is aware, is a license that is limited by state law, and the city of Cranston is already over their allotment. I believe your allotment is somewhere around 13 or 14, and you're probably at 18 or 19 licenses. So the city of Cranston's already over, and there is a the policy in the law is to limit those licenses as it is. What I would just represent to this body in looking at the D'Ambra matter that was heard before the Department of Business Regulations, the hearing officer laid out some of the conditions of licensing. And she said in her decision on page 10 that there are certain requirements, state and local, that a licensee must meet before a license can be issued. For example, there are statutory requirements regarding compliance with the fire safety code and fire alarm systems. As was indicated by the town in the grant of its license, There would also be required a certificate of good standing from taxation and approvals from the Department of Health, fire marshal, building official, tax collector, all in order for the license to issue. And what the hearing officer found was that those were conditions precedent to issuing any license on a retail basis. So those are conditions that even if this body does not specifically require them, they are required before a town or a city can issue that license. So I would point to the board to those items, and on behalf of the two Class A license holders that I represent, we formally object here, and we request that the board deny renewal on this license. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. DeSimone. Mr. Murray?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. For the record, my name is Robert Murray. I'm an attorney with offices at 21 Garden City Drive in Cranston, and I represent the Wine and Liquor Company, Inc., which is the holder of the Class A liquor license that is up for renewal this evening. I want to note for the record, my client, Howard Clift III, the sole shareholder of the LLC, and the license holder is present. I also represent Christie LLC and Marley Rose LLC, which is the owner of the property at 1350 Oaklawn Avenue, which has been identified as the address for the renewal. Present with me this evening are the two principals of that, the sole shareholder of both those LLCs, Deborah Marley Clift, to answer any questions that both of them are available to answer any questions that may come up. Madam Chairwoman, last Friday, I presented to the city clerk a detailed letter timeline with numerous exhibits. And I did it prior to the 4 o'clock deadline as required under your agenda. And I believe it'd be appropriate when you're ready that a vote be taken to accept those based on what your agenda says. I just heard Mr. DeSimone say he submitted something in writing. I don't know when that was. I checked with the clerk about 3 o'clock this afternoon, and I didn't think there was anything else, but I'll, if I misunderstood, that's fine. But as it relates to my documents, I'd ask that they may be part of the record when you're ready.
Madam Clerk, I received something on my desk from Mr. DeSimone when I got here, but I don't know. It's dated September 28th. Is that when these came? I received documentation from Attorney DeSimone. Got here. Did we send those out
It-
electronically as well?
That was sent, it came in this morning at 10:59. I'm sorry, Attorney Murray. I couldn't understand you. Did you question whether there was any?
No, he just wants a vote to accept the documentation that Mr. Attorney Murray had sent it last week, but
Right. And
it just came this morning. If this came this morning, then we can't, it's too late, right? Attorney Radecchio?
Well, if in fact it was filed this morning, I'd object to it being made part of the record because I accommodated your rules.
I apologize. That I came in late this morning to the office, so that went to the license clerk. It was time stamped at 10:59. I wasn't made aware of it till 3:30, 4 o'clock this afternoon.
I understand. It's just that the rule says you want to submit something in writing, it should be 4 o'clock last Friday. So
So it's late regardless, Rose.
Had a chance late this afternoon to review what Mr. DeSimone submitted. I would say that it's basically a summary of the argument he just made. It's basically all legal argument. There's no exhibits. There's no references to anything else. So it's basically a summary of what he just argued. But I'd leave it to the discretion of the committee. I don't think it causes any prejudice, but the rules are the rules. And it's up to the committee. As I said, it's basically a summary of his legal position. There's nothing else. There's no attachments, no exhibits, nothing like that.
And I think only I received it. Did everyone receive it at their desk when they were here?
So I haven't, through the chair,
Go ahead.
I don't think any of us received the letter, so it's only gone to you so far, so.
I don't receive anything.
No. Okay, if I only received it, then Rose could not distribute it. I can't accept it. That's-
I provided that as an objection to the committee, not realizing that that was even on your calendar when I mail that document. So I sent it to the chair of the committee and the city clerk, not realizing that it was on the docket. The city clerk was kind enough to let me know that it was docketed. I also saw it on the docket after I mailed it on Friday. So I wasn't aware of that. So I wasn't intending to rely on those documents tonight. I just submitted those documents in the event that the board did not allow commentary. What I commented on is essentially the same cases and statutes that I relied upon in the letter. So I don't believe it prejudices my client in any way if it does not meet with your rules as far as a piece of evidence. I didn't intend it as a piece of evidence in any event.
Okay, so
Okay.
it's not a problem if we don't accept it in the same way. I'll entertain a motion to accept the documents that Attorney Murray sent on Friday.
So moved.
Second,
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas. Councilwoman Jermaine,
yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Thank you. Let me just briefly, and I mean briefly, highlight the written documentation that I submitted. It speaks for itself, but I want to respond to some things that my brother said tonight. But just to set the table here, the Wine and Liquor Company, Inc., formerly operated at 311 Warwick Avenue. In 2016, this committee approved the transfer from the former owner to my client, and they operated at that location until 2020. As some members of this committee would know, as former members of the council, there are no secrets here. It has been in process for a number of months, if not year, to relocate this liquor store from Warwick Avenue to the former Mardi Gras property on Oaklawn Avenue, Route 5. In order to accomplish that, a number of steps had to be taken within the permitting process, and the city council was informed and involved in every step of the way. When the license was approved in 2019 to be transferred to Oaklawn Avenue from Warwick Avenue, there were no conditions placed on it by the committee. And that was the first step in the process because my client Christie LLC and Marley Rose LLC was going to purchase the property and had plans to enter into a lease with the Wine and Liquor Company Inc. to occupy the new retail building on that site. We needed first to know whether the city council would approve the transfer, and that's what's happened in November 2019. I remind the committee that last September of 2020, the committee renewed the Class A liquor license for Wine and Liquor Company, Inc. And knowing full well that we were underway to move forward with the new store. The process that we had to go through was extensive to get to the point where we could have a groundbreaking and go vertical with new construction that involved rezoning a portion of the Mardi Gras property. We had to obtain permits from DEM, DOT. We had to go through the development plan review committee process in the planning department, technical review process, all before we could get a building permit. The building permit was issued in May of this year. And prior to that, last year, my client, the owner had raised the buildings at the three buildings at Oak Lawn Avenue as the first step towards the construction. I disagree with Mr. DeSimone's suggestion that it was improper to transfer the property to Oak Lawn Avenue. The address of that property at the time was 1468 to 1500 Oak Lawn Avenue. It was a three building property, and we could have reopened the store in one of those buildings, but we did not do that because ultimately the buildings were going to be raised. The other conditions Mr. DeSimone talks about, I don't disagree. Before we open the new store, we're going to produce a certificate of occupancy, approval from the building inspector, the plumbing inspector, the fire department. But we're involved in new construction here. And all the taxes have been paid, both state and local. And we will provide all that prior to the actual opening of the new store. The two things that are going on here. First, in June of 2020, Christie LLC and Marley Rose LLC acquired the property from the former owner. In June of 2020, the Wine and Liquor Company, within the 1 year of the initial transfer to Oak Lawn Avenue, signed a lease, a long-term lease with the property owner to occupy the main building at that location. Prior to the starting any of this, I was in contact with the Department of Business Regulation, the senior legal counsel involved in liquor control issues, and I raised this very issue about whether or not a license holder could ask several questions, and I've provided their response in my exhibits. I asked whether or not we could discontinue operations at Warwick Avenue until the new store was built, and I received an affirmative answer. They said that it's clearly within the purview of the city council to put timeframes on license transfers, but that didn't happen in this instance. So then the question is, what's reasonable? As the documentation that I submitted last Friday shows, I showed every step of the way what we've done to bring this new store online. I suggest to you that we were allowed to discontinue the operations during the permitting and construction for a reasonable time. And given the steps we had to go through, and then when you overlay on top of that, the pandemic and the COVID situation, I don't think we've been unreasonable at all. It's well known, it's been well reported in the construction industry, the effects of the pandemic and COVID and the delivery of materials. We're still waiting for some steel to show up at the site. It's coming shortly, hopefully. But I've provided in my exhibit a letter from the project architect and the contractor, Bowerman Construction, that talked about many of the issues that their industry and this project inured. The Rule 14 that Mr. DeSimone cites, I'm very familiar with. It does have some language in there about a year. I'm also familiar with the DeAmber case. The decision in the DeAmber case did involve a Class B license down in Narragansett. The hearing officer rendered the license as invalid, but the director overruled the hearing officer, and in his decision, he said the policy behind Rule 14 is to prevent license holders from sitting on a liquor license without using them for an unreasonable period of time. In the DeAmber case, the license holder was building a boutique hotel and a new restaurant and bar, and the director said they were actively engaged in the construction process. And therefore, he said the renewal of the license did not violate the letter or spirit of the law. And he approved that the license could issue and was not abandoned. As I suggested in my written material, the abandonment, in my mind, requires two things. First, the intent to abandon, and certainly the overt act. And nothing that's in this record and in the documents I submitted suggests to you that my client, Wine and Liquor Company, Inc., ever intended to abandon the license, nor took any steps to do so. So when we look at the body and totality of the facts and history in this case and the travel of the case, I respectfully suggest there's only one conclusion this committee should raise, and that's that the license should be renewed. Now, Mr. DeSimone, one of his clients, I remember vividly, because I traded their store on Oakland Avenue, where it was here the night of the initial license. There was no objections raised that evening, not that they had to, and they're certainly within their rights to raise an objection now. But let's be honest with you. This is all about having a competitor, having the consumer have another opportunity to deal with the other retailer than the existing retailers. Is that really what we're here to do, is squelch business and shut them down so that the public has less options to make, in this case, their liquor purchases? The developer and owner of the property has spent some $2 million acquiring it, has borrowed $4.5 million from Bank Rhode Island. I've provided both the mortgage and the copy of the deed. There is, and my client, Wine and Liquor Company, Inc., has entered into, in good faith, a long-term lease with the owner. And as soon as the building is ready, we will open and operate. The committee has not, in this instance, and I don't recall any other instances with these renewals, as everybody knows, are routinely handled. It's only because we're now on the brink of opening this new store that some competitors are trying to shut us down. So as far as Mr. DeSimone's arguments, I'm not sure they apply here. We could have opened it at Oakland Avenue and then shut it down. We didn't do that. But this is not a question of a license holder sitting on the license and deciding, hey, what am I going to do with this? I understand there's a value to this Class A license. That's why they're limited. But it would be an injustice at this point, given the state of affairs. And in my exhibits, you can see the construction of the building going on right now. To deny this renewal would just be wrong, respectfully. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. My client is here, but I'll stand on the written record that I submitted, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Murray. Yeah, I did find those meeting minutes online. And it does appear that Mr. Murray is correct, that there was no objection of renewing this license at the time as part of the block. But right now, I would ask if there's anyone from the public to speak for or against this license, either online, please raise your hand, or here in chambers. If not, then I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, for discussion, solicitor.
So, Madam Chairman, members of the committee, just some preliminary remarks. I know both of these attorneys very well. I have relied on their expertise, on their advice many times in my tenure here in Cranston. I mean, that's how much respect I have for the two of them. They're two excellent attorneys, and they both make excellent arguments on behalf of their client. I don't want to stand here for the next half an hour and go through every legal analysis that I think is applicable. I will say this, that I've been aware of the issue probably for the past 2 or 3 weeks. I have spent a lot of time researching, reading, investigating, and listening to all sides. It does raise an interesting issue because there is, as you know, there's a statutory framework when it comes to licenses, especially liquor, that have to be followed. But like with all laws and all statutes, there's sometimes gray area, there's sometimes exceptions. And you may recall both attorneys referenced a case called the Ambra, which was a case that went over to DBR, which is the super licensing authority in the state of Rhode Island. I've said that to this committee before. You're a local board, but they are the super licensing board for the state. They trump all of the local boards. They have the final say unless and until their decision is appealed to Superior Court, which of course then the court has the final say. But a very similar issue was presented in that case in the Ambra. And what it came down to, I think Mr. Murray hit it on the head, was whether or not there has been due diligence on the part of the applicant, the person seeking the renewal. So what we have is a building in a location which has been under construction during a pandemic. And I can't emphasize enough how that cannot be ignored. I never thought I would see in my career a situation where rules of law, statutes, I mean, black letter law was essentially, I don't want to say ignored, but basically changed at the whim of the courts. And the excuse or the underlying reason has been the pandemic. We've seen it with the eviction moratorium, where, in my opinion, I felt that the rights of the landlords were just, I thought that was a disgrace what was done, but it was done. And it took 2 years for the United States Supreme Court, or almost 2 years, to come in and finally say it's unconstitutional, you can't do it. But that doesn't help the people for the past 18 months who were the victims of this judicial action. The judiciary is not supposed to make these decisions. That is for the legislative branch to do. So the reason I bring it up is because we're sort of in a new world. We're in this pandemic world. It just can't be ignored. And unfortunately for Mr. Murray and his clients, they basically started this project at the very beginning and through the worst part of the pandemic. I have no doubts in my mind that there were construction problems, that there were supply chain problems. There still are. I mean, we've seen it with used cars, we've seen it with new cars, we've seen it with so many things. You try to order an appliance, it takes 4 to 5 months through Home Depot because the supply chains have been so disrupted. So that, again, it can't be ignored. So based on what I've heard, and in my opinion, I can't stand here and say that Mr. Murray's clients have been dilatory and have stalled or have sat on their rights. I think the evidence through his submissions, his representations are anything but that. I think they've done the best they could under the circumstances. So the Ambra decision, as of right now, is, I hesitate to say the law of the state, but my understanding is that that case later on settled so that a Superior Court judge never had the opportunity to review the decision of the director as to its propriety. But as of right now, as I stand here tonight, that is right now the leading authority on this issue. And the director made it clear in that case, as Mr. Murray cited in the very last paragraph. I could read it to you, but I'll just summarize it for you. Basically, what the director said was that that rule was not designed to punish people with a strict, 1 year limitation. The rule was designed to prevent people from sitting on a license for a number of years, doing nothing with it, and then trying to operate. And I saw one of the matters that was cited to in support of that proposition was another case, I think it was called Baker, where the applicant for 11 years had a license for 11 years, kept renewing it, never did anything. The court finally said, you know what, 11 years is a little much. I mean, we're nowhere near that kind of time frame. And the other thing that I noticed, although this wasn't brought up by anyone, is that it seems to me that there was quite a bit of applications for relief in terms of zoning, in terms of setbacks, in terms of other approvals that were needed. And there's a question as to whether or not that would fall under the exception that's contained in Rule 14, which applies to litigation. It says that the 1 year doesn't apply if the matter is in litigation. So someone giving that a strict interpretation would say, well, you know, applying to your local zoning board, going for a zone change isn't really litigation. I don't know. It's a close call. I would argue that it could very well be litigation. That alone would basically toll the running of the 1 year. But again, I don't want to stand here all night. I think this is an issue that ultimately, if it's pursued, is going to have to be decided by a higher authority, with all due respect to this committee, than the committee. Ultimately, this will either go to the Department of Business Regulation. Where it goes from there, I don't know. But if the Department of Business Regulation is consistent with what they've done before, they will uphold this renewal. I mean, obviously, I can't guarantee that. I may be wrong, but to the best of my knowledge and in my humble opinion, my humble legal opinion, I think that the license under these circumstances ought to be renewed. That's my recommendation.
Through the chair,
Yes, go ahead.
solicitor, just two quick things. When you say it's going to have to be decided by a higher authority such as DBR, you still mean that we make a decision tonight and then it gets decided either on
That-
appeal?
Yes, if I wasn't clear on that, I'm sorry, but what I'm saying is I'm just anticipating, and you know, as lawyers, we sometimes anticipate. You make your decision. You are no question, you are the first step in the process. If either side is dissatisfied, then the next step will be DBR, and then from there, you've got your appellate rights all the way up to the Rhode Island Supreme Court at that point. But yes, this committee makes the decision tonight.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from anyone else on the committee? Council President?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just have a comment, don't have any questions. After hearing all three attorneys tonight very eloquently state their cases, and then obviously the opinion of the city, I will vote in favor of granting the renewal this evening. I certainly remember going back to the walkthrough with the zoning application for this property. I certainly saw the stuff that was put on the record today. Seems like all along, the city and agencies have been updated. Certainly throwing a pandemic in the mix and construction materials and a $6.5 million investment in the city is also something to take into consideration. So I'll be voting for the renewal tonight. Certainly nowhere near the 11 years that Attorney Videcchia had mentioned in that other case. So that's just my 2 cents tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Okay, Councilwoman Jermaine?
Solicitor, I have a question just for you. If this body would have to deny this renewal, what benefit the city will gain from that?
So if I understand the question, you're saying if the committee were to deny,
Yes, what benefit?
to the city doesn't get a benefit or a detriment. This is a property right of the applicant. It's sort of like, this might not be the greatest analogy, but if someone were coming in for a building permit, they want to build a house, the city denies it. So I guess the city loses some property tax revenue, but the people who apply to the ones that really suffer. So it's really not so much the city.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilwoman Marino?
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Renzulli, Chair of Safety Services. While I'm not a member of the committee, I do just have a couple of questions. With respect to the Rhode Island General Laws 3-5-16.1, it speaks of not just abandonment, but cessation of operations. So and it does allow for the extension, again, as stated by council, that it's not to exceed 1 year. and does reference that as being a reasonable period of time and limiting it to that. My question is, do we know, has the applicant, a current license holder, come before this committee since they were given the initial transfer, seeking any type of, continuance or, extension with respect to the license?
Madam Clerk, do we have that record? If they've come before us, have they, as Attorney Murray sent in anything regarding?
Not sure if this is the answer you're looking for. They did renew last year, just like they're doing this year. So they did file a renewal last year and it was approved.
And that was 1 year from today? Was that a year from today approximately, Rosal? Yeah, okay, thanks. Yep.
You could come up and speak as a member of the public. If you could just say your name and your address for the record.
My name is,
Madam Chair, I never like to shut off people, but you did call for public comment before. Now we're into sort of legal arguments and we're into committee questions. I don't think it's appropriate at this point, respectfully, to allow public comment now. That closed. It's in your discretion, but I would strongly dissuade it.
My apologies, sir. I didn't realize that we're going to go back to public comment after it's closed. Are there any other questions from the committee? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Just for, I'm sorry, I don't think there was a motion.
Clarificate to the chair. For clarification, we're voting to approve the license.
The motion was to approve and there was a second,
Thank you.
correct?
For the renewal, correct?
For the renewal, yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We have several more renewals that are under public hearing because they are for liquor licenses. So I would ask the attorney, can we approve these as a block? There might be a couple that need to be taken out. But could everything else be approved by a block if someone made a motion to do so?
I think, yes, Madam Chairman, I think you answered your own question. If there are, we can certainly do it as a block as we usually do. I always put forth the caveat if there is something that needs special attention or if there's something that someone objects to, that should be taken out of the block. We could deal with those separately. I don't know what those are. But if there are, we could simply state those for the record, take them out, and then approve the remainder as a block and then consider those.
So I'd ask, is there anyone here from the public to speak on any of these renewals? Is there anyone online?
I see no public comment. If the chair could remind the folks to raise their hand.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Paplaskas?
Thank you, Chair. Just for the record, on the Class BV license renewal, there's a renewal for Tommy's Pizza 2. I'm sure most of you know I deliver pizza there a couple nights a week. They come up on the agenda twice, but when you do the liquor license renewals, I will abstain from that vote. And if we do it separately, I'll leave the room for the vote. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who needs something taken out? Is there anyone, solicitor, if someone was a member of a club that is on here to be renewed, I don't know if that would be something that has to come out or not.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I missed the beginning of that. If someone was,
If someone, Councilman Paplaskas works, is employed by a company here, I don't know if some of these are, there are social clubs. I don't know if you're allowed to, if you should take it out so you can't vote as a part of the block or not.
Well, is there anyone who has a particular problem? I mean, it's a non-issue if anyone.
I'm a member of the Santa Maria de Prada Club. Can I vote on their license?
Look, when it comes to conflict of interest, unless you're receiving some type of unique benefit that the rest of the members are not receiving, it really is not a conflict. I know, and I would say that also to President Poplawskis, out of an abundance of caution, he abstains. You put it this way, you can never have a problem if you abstain. But in my opinion, unless you're getting a specific benefit that the rest of the class is not getting, you don't have a conflict. You're just a member, in my opinion. But it's your decisions. Just like I can't make that decision for you.
I didn't think it was one.
I just wanted to make sure. Thank you. Okay, so I will entertain a motion
Motion to approve? Or
The
motion,
block,
as a block.
oh, motion to vote as a block. I apologize.
second,
Any discussion?
All right, let me rephrase that motion. Motion to vote as a block, except for Tommy's Pizza.
second,
Any further discussion? No, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
yes,
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes,
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
and I'll entertain a
To
motion.
approve the block?
Second.
Yes, Councilman.
Thank you, Chairwoman. We're doing all of the renewals, correct? Class A, BV, BVL, BV, Class D, all of them? Okay. The only question I have for the, if the major is available, as the representative from Ward 3, I haven't received any issues or comments from constituents regarding pregame lounge on Dyer Avenue. I know that last year there were some issues with COVID compliance. They came before us. Just want to confirm if there have been any issues at that location since then.
Major?
Major, Hi, Major, how are you? Well, thank you, sir. Pre-game lounge on Dyer Ave. I haven't received any complaints since last year when they had an issue with a COVID compliance. Has anything come across the desk?
Okay, so I think we have a motion and a second to approve the block. Is there any further discussion?
And this is the block minus.
The
Tommy's
block
Pizza.
minus Tommy's Pizza. Okay, clerk, can you please take the roll?
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
yes,
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes,
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
okay, and I'll entertain a motion for Tommy's Pizza. Is
Motion to approve?
second,
there any discussion? Okay, there being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
yes,
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes. Okay, thank you. I would just like to note for anyone that is online, we have a very long agenda tonight. It's the same number to stay on for the Finance Committee. It will follow this meeting immediately. Okay, next on the agenda are two show cause. Attorney Videcchio.
think I would know that. The new matters before the committee, the auto repair license, holiday mobile food establishment, are those before or after the show cause?
Oh, my apologies. Those are before the show cause.
I mean, we could deal with them now, but I think it might be easier to just
Go straight
do
through.
it in order so we don't have to take motions to take out of order and so
Okay.
on.
That's a question, Rose. I'm just wondering, for the renewals, they're separated now. They weren't, I don't remember them being separated before. So we have been approving them separate, like we.
Those are at the beginning of the agenda because they were advertised for public hearing because they were liquor.
Okay, new matters before the committee. We have an auto repair license for America's Speed Shop. Is there anyone present for America's Speed Shop? If so, you can please come forward.
Yes, we have.
America's Speed Shop? America's? I'm sorry, what? Hi, your name and address for the record?
Nicholas Arena, 926 Pontiac Ave, Cranston. Arena, A-R-E-N-A, 926 Pontiac Ave, Cranston. You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Nicholas. I'd ask if there is anyone online to speak for or against this application?
Yes, we have one account, Lou P, Rhode Island.
Hello, could you please state your name and address for the record?
Louis Petrucci, 121 Eastview Ave, Cranston.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Petrucci. You have 2 minutes.
Oh, well, first of all, I want to say I'm glad to see buildings being, not being empty, so a business starting off, I wish them luck. I noticed the name. I have a question, actually, I got questions. Why America Speed Shop? Is this high performance vehicles? Is it just a repair shop? What would the hours of operation be? And I noticed the lighting, how it's blasting onto the homes. I don't know if the homeowners know they can have them adjust that so that they're not lighting up the front of those houses the way they are. That's all I got. Other than that, I wish them luck.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Petrucci. Is there anyone else online with public comment? Is
Seeing
there
no public
anyone
comment.
here in council chambers? Nope. Okay, then I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, for discussion, Mr. Arena, if you would like to answer some of the questions, and then the committee can ask you questions as well.
I'm gonna be open 6 days a week. I'm gonna be open 6 days a week, 8 to 6. And I actually fixed the lights on the building. They're actually aiming straight down now. They're not on the houses across the street. It's okay. The business hours are gonna be 8 to 6, 6 days a week, and it's just a auto repair business, just service on vehicles, and the lights that he's talking about, they were shining on the neighbors. They said something to me, so I moved them down, so they're right on the building. They don't go into the street no more.
Okay, thank you. And in reference, there was a question about the name that has nothing to do with the high performance vehicles or,
No.
no, it's just a
Nope.
name.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Councilman Paplaskas?
Thank you, Chair. I represent the area where business is going to be going. And we've had issues in the past with businesses that have gone in your location, specifically because of the proximity of the neighbors directly across the street. So I have a couple of questions. During the day, do you plan on parking any cars on the street there, or are you going to be able to keep everything in the confines of your property?
It's gonna be in the parking lot. I put up like a privacy fence so the neighbors won't see anything.
Okay. Do you
Try
know
to
how
keep
many
it
cars
clean.
you're allowed on your property? Is there a site plan on file?
There is a site plan on file.
Okay, Madam Clerk, do you have a copy of the site plan? While Madam Clerk is looking for that, I have another question. I saw the name American Speed Shop. So you said you're not a race shop. You're
No,
gonna have a dyno machine
no.
in there? No, okay,
No.
because that creates a lot of noise
Mhm.
too, and could certainly see an issue with that. What kind of cars are you gonna be fixing? Just,
Just
Anything?
anything that needs maintenance, service done.
okay. I'm gonna defer my time to Director McCauley. I think he has a comment while I see the site plan.
Thank you, Council President. Members of the committee, I actually went to this establishment and met with Mr. Arena this past last week. It looks like it's something that I also spoke with the neighbors, and they're welcoming this gentleman to their area. I'm working with him and the neighbors to settle a problem with an adjacent building that he has nothing to do with. So, Council President, I can vouch that he's doing a very good job of keeping the neighborhood the way you'd like it to be.
Director McCauley, thank you very much for doing that. And I just looked at the site plan. You have a ton of parking, so I'm
Okay.
satisfied. I wish you all the luck. And if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
I
I'll be in
appreciate it.
support
Thank
of
you.
your application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council Vice President Barry?
Yes, we'd like to welcome you to the area. We wish you a lot of luck. Just please always be mindful of the neighbors and their requests. You know, when people come forward to complain, we encourage it because sometimes we don't know what's going on unless people do come forward and complain. So we wish you the best of luck and just please be mindful to the neighbors. I live less than a half a mile from there, so
Okay.
welcome to the area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, there being none, welcome to the area. And clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Riley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli?
Yes,
Council President Paplas?
Yes.
okay, thank you. Now we're moving on to another auto repair license. It's for Midas Muffler. Is there someone representing Midas Muffler here? Can you please state your name and address for the record?
My name is Dr. David Farley, and I live at 9 Horizon Drive in Cranston.
Okay, thank you. I'd ask, is there anyone here from the public, either online or in person, to speak for or against this license?
I see no public comment online.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second,
Okay, for discussion. Mr. Farley, want to tell us a little bit about your business?
The business is an ongoing business. It's been there for 42 years. It's started out as a Midas Muffler Shop, and it's changed names to Midas, Auto Centers over the past 15 or 20 years.
Okay, are there any questions from the committee? Okay, there being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas? Councilwoman Jermaine?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry?
Yes.
Councilman Riley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli?
Yes,
Council President Paplaskas?
yes.
okay, thank you.
Can I just say one more thing?
You sure can.
This is a brand new process for me, and I had to go to the clerk's office several times, and I just want to say that people complain about city employees all the time. I had nothing but, superior service and explanation from, I dealt with 4 different people in that office, and they were all outstanding. And I just want to share that with the committee.
Thank you
very
so much. We appreciate that. Okay, we have a holiday sales license for Marshall's number 102. Is there someone here representing Marshall's? Solicitor, I think, is there anyone to speak for or against this? Solicitor, I would say, is this similar to the holiday sales license we approved in absentia before?
Yes, I would be, I would say the same thing applies here.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, next we have a mobile food establishment license. It's for Nico Bella's Cranston. Hi, sir.
Everybody.
How are you?
Fabulous.
Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Daniel Krenka, 145 Hodsell in Cranston, Rhode Island. Bus would be located at 1350 Park Avenue.
Okay.
Krenka, C-R-E-N-C-A.
Thank you. Is there anyone online or in the audience to speak for or against this license?
See no public comment online.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
And go ahead, Mr. Krenko, for discussion.
So I just want to first say that if I wish my mother was still alive because she could see me on TV and she would think that's so cool. So that would be really great. But I'm really auditioning for diners, drive-ins and dives, right? So this is my first opportunity on TV. But we're very excited about coming to Cranston. We first came to Cranston to redevelop an Anderson auto body shop, which is all got zoned and finished. And, during COVID, took a while. And now we're coming to 1350 Park Avenue to develop Nico Bella's, which is a really great funky restaurant in downtown Providence with all original artwork. And we've had some great success in the city, and we're looking forward to bringing it to Cranston. In this process during COVID, due to someone else's unfortunate, we were fortunate to gain the coolest food truck on the East Coast. It really is. So when I say I'm rehearsing for diners, drive-ins and dives, I'm not kidding. This thing is going to bring Cranston to the map again, like you already have so many times. It is that cool. And we're very excited about not only developing this food truck, and we've got all our approvals. My favorite right-hand woman and Val down at the office has worked with your offices. You guys have been fabulous. It's all insured and registered. Fire Marshal, Health Department. I can tell you the Fire Marshal and Health Department came through that truck and they spent more time taking pictures for their kids to show them the truck than they were concerned, because that's how well it's built. It is absolutely redone. It is a fabulous asset to the city. We're very excited to be there, and it is a temporary situation. So our goal is to have a presence there as we go through the process to get the restaurant open, and we got some zoning things to do and some hoops and jump through, and as I've heard so many times here tonight. But this will give us an opportunity to have a presence on that corner, clean up that corner, right? I think that we all in this city have been excited about to see that. We just blacktopped the driveway parking lot. We cleaned up the windows. We put some lights on. We put some original artwork. I happen to be one of the pieces in the artwork. Those original from a world famous artist, believe it or not. I got a great collection. So we're very excited to come to Cranston, and this is our pathway to that journey. And I really think that what we do is out of the box. What we do is very original. What we do is pretty awesome. We're not just your typical restaurant, and you're welcome. We're doing a block party. The city of Providence has closed down Westminster for us, and we have our first annual Oktoberfest for Nico Bella's on Westminster Street, which was told impossible to close. We close it this Saturday and 2 more Saturdays ahead. We've got a great jazz musicians all day next Saturday, and the Saturday after that with a 5-piece blues band. So please come check us out in Providence. I'm not really here to get a bus approved. I'm here to gain 30 customers and who knows how many people on TV. That's what my goal is. I know we're an asset. We're looking forward to your approval.
Thank you. I can say I'm very excited for you to open the food truck. I drive by it like 4 times a day because I live right by there. So thank you so much. Go ahead, Councilman Paplaskas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to wish you good luck. I'll be in support of your application this evening. I represent the area where your food truck is and your restaurant's going. It's great to see that corner be cleaned up. And I think it's a great idea to have your bus there on the corner. It creates excitement, you know, building up to your grand opening, and certainly look forward to that. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Councilwoman Vargas.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Dan, can I ask you what are your hours of operation? When are you going to be there?
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to tell you my goal, and unfortunately, it's not based on my goal always. It's based on staffing. We took a time to develop our breakfast to breakfast and lunch, from breakfast and lunch to full bar, breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. It took a while to pull the staff together of 20 people in Providence. And that's will be the same here. My goal is to see it, you know, we're a breakfast, lunch, and dinner operation. We want to be a piece of what we are. We're not trying to invent the wheel again. So, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Monday through, I like to take Sundays off on that particular location until the restaurant opens. I don't know if I can get away with it. Often we know we have a problem that we do a pretty cool thing. And when we open up certain hours, we get yelled at to open up more, you know? So they're like, open up tonight. And, oh, why didn't you open this time? So the goal is breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you know, and reasonable hours at night. And the representative that spoke that is of our area, I'm looking forward to meeting you and come down, because we do have a higher level of standard that we want to, I'm excited about that corner, right? I'm excited about the flowers we're putting in. I'm excited about blacktop in the front. I'm excited about the original artwork. So we don't only want to clean it up, we want to be one of your trophies for Cranston.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited that you're excited. I'm excited to also have some of your biscuit and gravy and your Benedicts, because I've been there before, to the one in downtown. So thank you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Are there any other questions or comments from the
I want to
committee?
wish you really good luck. You have so much energy and positivity. So I think you're gonna translate that to your employees. So
Well,
Good
we as a team love what we do. I love what I do. And we've been serving food in this state for 97 years, my family, since they came over from Italy. We're excited to serve you. And that's what I was born to do, was to serve you guys. So when I say I want to gain a customer, I want to feed you. I want to gain a customer. I want to treat you like, you know, you're off when you come to my restaurant. You're not here working, sitting in these chairs and listening and doing all this stuff. You're here to enjoy yourself. And I want to serve you to do that.
Thank you so much.
thank you. Good luck.
Anyone else? Councilwoman Marino?
Thank you. I would like to wish you a lot of luck. That is a corner that for years and years has been, you know, crying out for something ideal. And I wish you great success, and benvenuti from another Italian.
And I want to, it's more than once I've heard that corner needed help. I want to tell you on behalf of the owner, he's been courting me for 4.5 years. So when I was down in Providence, he says, I need you on that corner. And during COVID, I called him and he was excited, and he's worked with me tremendously well. And he's been a really great partner in this whole process. So it was worth the wait, in other words.
Okay, anyone else? Councilman Donegan?
Thank you, Chairwoman. Welcome. I represent the other side of the street, which is also gaining a condo. So I think between that, the restaurant, that corner right there really is getting a facelift. And your excitement, I'm now very hungry, much more awake than I was 10 minutes ago. Wishing nothing but success, and looking forward to you opening.
Awesome. Told you my mother would be proud.
Thank you so much. Okay, if there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk, I'd ask that you please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hallelujah.
We'll all be seeing you soon.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
Okay, we have a victualling license for, I might pronounce this wrong, Chennai Express Indian Cuisine. It's a change of ownership.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, for discussion.
Hello.
Hi,
Good
how are
evening to
you?
all. How are you?
Good. If you could speak right into the microphone and just say your name and your address to the record.
Okay. Oh, Kevin Gracious. I'm sorry. about that. Kevin Gracious, 745 Reservoir Avenue, Cranston. You're welcome.
Is there anyone here from the public to speak for or against this license?
See no public comment online.
Okay, thank you. You guys want to tell us a little bit about your business and then people will ask some questions.
Okay, we are gonna do South Indian delicacies, and we have a seating of around 30 people, and we have quite a good amount of entrees, appetizers, and we also do small amount of caterings too. And we are planning to open for 6 days a week, and that's about it. Any more questions?
Fantastic. What would your hours be?
Pardon?
What do you anticipate your hours to be for those 6 days?
Yes, so we'll be opening around 10 o'clock in the morning, and for public, it would be like, it would start from 11:30, and we'd like to close the kitchen around 2:30, then give a break for our staff for 2 hours, and then we would start around again at 4:30 until 9:30 during the weekdays, and during the weekends, we would like to open until 10 o'clock. And on Sundays, we would like to close it by 9 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Councilwoman Vargas?
Thank you. I'm excited to have some Indian cuisine here in the city, great diversity here in the city. So best wishes to you. I'll be in support of this, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Councilman Donegan?
Thank you, Chairwoman. I share the sentiments of my colleague, Councilwoman Vargas, excited for this to continue here. A few years ago, that used to be Christopher's Deli in that location. And that was my first job was washing dishes and making pizzas in the back in that location. So it's a good place to be. I hope you make as many fond memories as I have there as a high schooler. And beyond, and wish you nothing but success.
And we'd love to see you at Chennai Express.
Go ahead. So I wish you good luck and welcome.
you.
So I will be stopping to try the Indian food, okay?
Yeah, surely we can customize all your spice levels. So we'd love to see you all there.
Fantastic. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Welcome
Thank
to
you so
Cranston.
much. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Okay, we have a victualling license for Dyer Market and Deli. You can go right up.
Motion to approve.
My name is Rashid Rabbani. I reside at Rashid Rabbani. That spells as R-A-C-H-I-D, R-A-B-B-A-N-I. I reside at 104 Sherman Ave, North Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here from the public to speak for or against this license? See no one in chambers.
No public comment online.
Okay, would you like to tell us a little bit about your restaurant?
Okay, it's a convenience store. So just a regular convenience store. We cater for drinks and dairy products, prepackaged food, coffee, slushies, ice cream. Yeah.
Okay, is there any questions from the committee? Okay, there being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, JP Spoonham's Restaurant was withdrawn by the applicant. So we will move to Cafe del Viago. Is there anyone here? Villaggio?
Motion to approve.
Second.
My name is Wayne Francis. I reside at 80 Loretta Street in the city of Cranston. Council President, Madam Chair, Director, Solicitor, distinguished council members. We're trying to open up a cafe in the village of Patuxent. And my wife here, Lisa. It will be hours of operation from 7 in the morning until 8 in the evening. 6 days a week, we'll be serving or offering comfort food to the residents in the area. Coffee, pastry. We also have some specialty items, teas. We'll be bringing in from the West Indies and other areas, Italy, and certain factors of that matter. We also will be offering apparel for pets. We're gonna make it pet friendly because the establishment has an area outside which will allow us to have our customers come in, purchase items, not only for themselves, but for their loved one, which is their furry friends. And they'll be able to sit at the establishment and enjoy that. Coffee, tea, pastries, and other comfort foods that we will have.
Excellent. Is there any comments from the public online or here in chambers?
Seeing no public comment online.
Okay. Councilwoman Vargas?
Thank you, Chairwoman. Good evening.
Yes.
My first question, where on Broad Street, where in the village are you? I'm sorry, because I was just.
Are you familiar with the Gulf Station?
Yes,
Right next door.
okay.
It sits back, so you don't really actually see the property because it has parking, available parking for our
Yep, was that
customers.
where the hair
Yes,
salon used to
exactly.
be? Okay, sorry, there's probably it's not on here, so I wasn't sure exactly where it was gonna be. Okay, great. And you said it was from 7 to 8 o'clock,
Yes.
right? And comfort food, you already answered that, so.
If you want me to expand on that.
Nope. So I am the councilwoman of Ward 1 area. And then obviously we have 3 council members citywide here with us this evening as well. I'm very excited to have a lot of comfort food coming into the village and have an additional option to also have in the village itself. It's a great piece of our city. There's obviously a lot of events, there's a lot of organizations within Patuxent Village as well. If I could be of help at all, please reach out at any given point. And so I'll obviously be in support and best wishes to you.
Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Anyone else questions or comments from the committee? Councilman Paplaskas?
Thank you. Welcome. And Mr. Francis, what is your hours of operation going to be? And when do you plan on opening?
7 to 8 in the evening,
Okay,
Monday through Saturday.
okay,
Sundays, of course, is the day of the Lord, so we take that off.
excellent. Well, I will be in support of this application. When do you plan on opening?
Well, barring no complications, Board of Health and, other things, we're looking to open by December.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you.
We need to vote.
All right, clerk, can you please take the roll?
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes. All
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
right, thank you.
Good luck.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good job.
Next, we have a victualling license for the Celia Group LLC DBA McDonald's. It's a change of ownership. Is there someone present? I have listed a Joseph Spadea. I will entertain a motion to continue this to the next meeting. I don't see anyone
Motion to
present.
continue for the next meeting.
Second.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Next, we have a victualling license for Shorty's. Is there anyone present representing Shorty's? David Roy, perhaps? And I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to,
Okay, go ahead.
All set?
Nope, nope, you just have to say your name and your address for the record.
Dave Roy from Pawtucket, Slater Street.
Is there anyone here from the public to speak for or against this application? Are there any questions from the committee?
Chair?
Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you. Is this the old location where Brooklyn Brothers
Yeah.
used to be?
Yep.
Okay, what are your hours of operation and what kind of business are you gonna have?
I'm on the breakfast, lunch and weenies.
Okay,
I have another location in East Providence too.
excellent. What are your hours going to be?
9 to 9.
Okay, sounds good. I'm the representative for the area, so if this gets approved tonight, welcome. I'll certainly be
Alright.
in support of it. I'm glad to see that you chose this location, so thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, there being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas. Councilwoman Jermaine.
yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Council President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilman Riley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Have a good one.
I see no correspondence from the traffic engineer. And now we have the show cause solicitor. There's 2 show causes listed in Automart Inc., DBA Automart, as well as Waste Management of Rhode Island. Yes, of course. I'd say if you're online waiting for the finance committee meeting, we are still having that, just getting through this first agenda.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes,
so this is the Automart, DBA Automart, that was continued from last month, I believe. Is that correct?
yes. No one appeared.
Well, what happened is, I just got this. Oh, okay. Okay. Should I talk now? Walter Ohanian, Ohanian, 175 Hoffman Avenue, 303, Cranston, Rhode Island. You're welcome.
You're the owner, correct?
I had a letter. This came from the post office. This was last week with the regular letter. That's why I didn't come. It was September 13th. This way it came from the post office. I don't know who signed for it, but it was in the mailbox. That's why I wasn't here. I've owned the building for 35 years. It's 1108 Park Avenue.
And your renters is Joseph Flynn, is your renter, correct?
It's one of my tenants, yeah.
Yep, okay. Attorney.
So, sir, are you the actual license holder? You don't hold any license, correct?
I own the, I'm president of the corporation for Automart Inc.
Right, but what I'm saying is, so the 2 gentlemen that were here, I guess it was back in August,
Yeah.
they're renting that, I think it's a garage or
It's a separate business.
separate business.
Yeah.
And the allegation at the time and also through some photographs that I saw seemed to indicate that there was an auto repair business taking place on the premises. Now, I know you're the landlord, you're just the landlord, but can you shed any light on what
Well, he
is
has
going on
classic-
there?
He has classic cars. He just works on his own cars. There's no inspection machine. There's nothing. It's like, it's like a hobby.
Okay.
that He does.
So, I mean, you've never witnessed yourself, you've never witnessed any type of automobile repair going on with outside customers or outside
No,
individuals,
he
things of
doesn't
that
even do
nature?
I send my work out to different people. I wasn't, when I talked to him when he first came there, when he first came here, I was in a hospital then. So we came, I told him to come tonight if you want to talk to him.
Is he here?
Yeah, if you wanted to talk to him.
Sure. Could we, Madam Chair, could we just bring him in? Thank you, sir. Then let's bring him in, if we could.
Is it all right?
Yep,
Sure.
thank you.
Oh, I thought he looked familiar. Hi.
Hi, can you just state your name and address for the
Joseph-
record?
Joseph Flynn, 160 Riverside Avenue, Cranston, Rhode Island.
Okay. So, Mr. Flynn, I hate to keep dragging you back here. No one appeared last month, which is why we put it on again today.
Yep.
And last month I was
waiting for a notification. 'cause I
okay.
gave
Well,
my address.
I'm not, no one's faulting you. I'm just saying how it transpired. So that's why we're here tonight. But I saw some photographs that depicted it's hard to tell, but there was some automobiles. I forget how many, 2, maybe 3 at the premises, which in and of itself means nothing. But I would like to ask you, excuse me, you had indicated in a prior hearing that you just work on your own vehicles. Is that still true?
That's right.
And you've never done any type of auto repair work for anyone else? Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't have anything else. Madam Chair, unless the committee has other questions, you may recall I was supposed to contact code enforcement, speak either to Mr. Ialongo, Mr. Peichel, whoever, and no excuses. I just got so busy. I apologize to the committee. I did not have the chance to actually do that. I did see the email with some photographs that Councilman Donegan had sent last month, and I had indicated I would follow up on it. My apologies, Councilman Donegan, I didn't do that. But I have not been provided with anything which could remotely be called the hard evidence of auto repair taking place at this establishment. So on behalf of the administration, my recommendation would be that we simply dismiss this matter for now instead of dragging these people back every month. That doesn't seem to make sense, and it's unfair to them. If, in fact, there is something going on, I'm not suggesting there is, but if anything were to change, at that point, we would have to send code enforcement down, take a look, and perhaps at that time, if it were justified, we could always have another show cause. But at this point in time, I just don't have any evidence upon which to proceed, and there's no point in dragging these people back every month.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Mr. Becker, would it be prudent of us to get a list of the vehicles he owns and then compare that to the photos you saw?
We're not imposing any type of sanction, so we can't say that, we're going to fine you unless you produce X, Y, and Z, a list for us. He's not renewing. He doesn't have a license. It's in your discretion if you want to do that. If you would ask him if he would voluntarily comply. I don't think I can force him. You've got things there?
I came with all my titles.
Fantastic. All right.
Attorney Videcchia, do you not need a license to work on your own vehicles?
As far as I know, you do not, as long as they're your own vehicles. You're not operating a business. You're not making money. So it can't be said you're operating a business, and the license, as you know, is only going to apply if in a business situation. So if he's working on his own vehicles, I don't see any issue with it. Sir, would you mind, maybe we could, could you hang on? We're almost done, and we
Yeah.
can make some copies of that. We really appreciate that if you
Yeah,
do
no
it.
problem.
Thank you.
And I actually just got rid of two of my vehicles.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Donegan?
Thank you.
Yeah.
The concern I have presented for the area is, sure, the concern that I still have for constituents in the area is the ongoing noise that's occurring at times late into the evening. Admittedly, haven't received any since we last saw you, I think back in August. But what kind of mechanisms do we have to ensure that, the right to some peace and quiet based on noise ordinances is going to be adhered to? I mean, if auto repairs are going on, and albeit on your own vehicles, I mean, noise ordinances still need to be enforced.
That's correct, Councilman, but then that would have to go the normal route. So in other words, whether it's this establishment or for that matter, any establishment in the city, Yard Works was the last example we had. If we're fielding complaints about noise, the major's in the back, he knows the process, then a report would be filed, a noise meter would be brought out, we would take readings. I mean, everyone has to comply with the noise ordinance regardless, so. But that would require, a separate investigation, so to speak.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions? I would say, do we need to make some sort of a motion on this, Attorney Videcchia, to dismiss it, or is this with the show cause you just?
It's a show cause. I would just make a motion to dismiss it, and that's it. Just make a motion to dismiss. This way it comes off the calendar.
Thank you. And I would ask, as Councilman Donegan said, if you could stay in compliance with the noise and we're not getting any complaints otherwise, then it's probably not a problem that you're working on your own vehicles. Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to dismiss.
Second.
Clerk, can you please take the roll?
Councilwoman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have a show cause listed for Waste Management of Rhode Island regarding a noise complaint of early pickup. Is there anyone here from Waste Management?
Good evening. My name is Eric Richard. I work out of the waste management facility on 1610 Pontiac Ave in Cranston, Rhode Island.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I know it's a show cause. I know nothing about this. I have no information. I'm assuming that this is a before hour type violation of emptying dumpsters and things like that. But I haven't been provided with anything. I don't know what the underlying facts are. I don't know who initiated the complaint.
Through the chair,
Go ahead, Councilman.
Solicitor. So actually, I initiated the complaint. In my practice, sometimes, as you know, we have to be there late to prepare for trial, sometimes overnight. On 2 occasions, I was at my office at 4:30 in the morning, and the waste management trucks were out and about all over Saconaset. They were in my office complex on the 2 different occasions that I mentioned. We could hear them from our house because I actually have a house that abuts my office from Saconaset, so we regularly hear them. But for me to be there in the middle of the night and see that, and there were at least 3 or 4 on the roads. I submitted pictures to yourself as well as to the clerk. So I mean, if 7 o'clock's the limit, I'm a very flexible and easy guy. But 4:45 in the morning outside of a residential neighborhood is unacceptable.
Well, Councilman, your testimony is certainly satisfactory to me. Sir, if you'd like to respond, you can respond to that.
Yeah, so I think what waste management does, we have our core values: safety, service, and efficiency. And one of the things that, on the complaint at 4:45 in the morning, the reason we start so early in commercial areas is due to, for example, that Garden City area, Class B license for CDL. A lot of these containers that we have to service, when we pull in, it's straight backing, and we worry about the public, our drivers in those areas. I think the Garden City area, working with some of the directors and attorneys for us, is we're kind of onshore exactly where the noise ordinance is as far as what's commercial and residential, because like you said, in that area in Garden City, we service a lot of commercial containers, and right behind that is a residential area. So what I have is the specific addresses here on the complaint. We have changed our times to service them at 9:45 in the morning. I don't know if that kind of works for the time being going forward, or in other areas if you've heard any other complaints. But for me, that specific driver, and I think the two addresses I have here is 65 Sauconasset and 95 Sauconasset. And actually, looking at the notes for that specific customer, they asked that we service them before 7 a.m. So I did reach out to the customer. He had no reason why, just thought it was easier for us to kind of get out in and out of the area. And obviously not have the trucks in the area when his customers are there. So the two customers we will now service at 9:45 in the morning.
Okay. So Councilman Riley and Madam Chair, so there's a few ways we could go about this. If we could give this one more date to see if corrective action has been taken, and at that time, if you're satisfied, Councilman, or if you're not satisfied, we could address it then, or you could decide to take some action now. It's up to this committee how they want to proceed. Obviously, I mean, we've had many instances where Waste Management has appeared before us. I mean, it's, in fairness, it's a difficult situation. I mean, everybody wants their garbage picked up, but nobody wants it picked up at 4:30 in the morning. So if the gentleman is sincere and is going to take corrective action, perhaps as a suggestion that we put it to the November docket and review it at that point. Just a suggestion.
I would absolutely agree with that. And I want to work with Waste Management. And I understand the time constraints involved, because I'm sure even at 9:45, that's going to be difficult midweek. So obviously we want to work with you. I just think 4:30 was a little much. But even if we had to amend that 7 o'clock to perhaps a 6:30 or 6, I'm more than happy to entertain something like that. It was just that early. So, but thank you for coming. I do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So we need to entertain a motion.
So I would move to continue this to the November docket.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas. Councilwoman Jermaine.
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilman Riley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes. Just a point of information to Councilman Riley, to the chair. Do you want the gentleman from Waste Management to appear next month?
In November, you mean? That's up to the solicitor if he thinks.
I think the best way to do it is sort of the way we do it in district court. If they're in compliance, they do not need to appear. If there's a problem, they need to appear. So maybe we could work that out, maybe like a week before or something like that, to see what the status is. I'll leave it up to you, Councilman. If you can communicate with the clerk that we need to bring him in. If things are good, we don't need to.
That sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I see no business from police or fire, but I do see here, Major. I don't know if there is any discussion or report. Anything from police? Is there anything from police? You don't have a report. You don't have a report, correct? No? Okay. Okay, so we are back at we have another large block of license renewals that I would entertain a motion to again take out Tommy's Pizza, and then I'd like to entertain a motion for a block.
Motion to approve as a block with the exception of Tommy's Pizza.
Any discussion? Is there anyone from the public here that has anything to say about any of these renewals? No?
See no public comment online?
Okay, thank you. So clerk, please take the roll. This is to approve as a block without Tommy's Pizza.
Councilwoman Vargas. Councilwoman Jermaine.
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Councilman Riley.
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Motion to approve as a block?
Any discussion? Okay, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Motion to approve Tommy's Pizza?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? No. Okay, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the monthly schedules, we have Rhode on the Patuxent. And they have a list of events and there's nothing from Cranston Stadium. All right. So I will entertain a motion for roads on the Patuxent.
Motion to approve?
Okay, for discussion. Councilman Paplaskas, is this what that complaint that we had?
Yeah, I did receive via email, I think Attorney Videcchio was looped in that too. An issue that came up with roads on Patuxent. Apparently there's some restrictions or caveats put on their license going back to, I believe, 1991 and 1994. So maybe that's something we should review as a committee with the approval of the chair, or at least send a copy to them. And, maybe some of the restrictions are good, maybe some of them are not. It was a long time ago. So I would defer to the ward council woman and the chair on that, but there are some restrictions on there that I wasn't even aware of. So
So if that's listed on the month of events, I mean, the list of events, that concert, do we need to take it out and consider it separately? Can we approve it and then go back and?
it might have
It
already, the
happened
concert already
yesterday.
happened.
It happened yesterday.
It was, it was a charity concert. I don't know, when some people hear concert, they think the Rolling Stones are coming to Cranston.
Well,
but
through the chair, can we just ask, the
ahead.
major, if there was, just because he's here, if there was any problems at all yesterday? I didn't hear of any. Oh, we have the administration here, actually. Sorry.
I actually spoke to the gentleman today to make sure that everything went right. There was no problems with parking. There was approximately 400 people that attended. Everyone behaved well. There was no incident of any kind. It went very smoothly.
Thank you.
It was for the Shriners, council member.
Sorry. Thank
Yeah,
you.
they raised some nice money for.
I think it's something to look into. Mhm.
On the Safety Service and Licensing Committee. So, yeah.
All right. So I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept the list of events.
Any further discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Vargas, Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay, and that looks like that's all we have. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to take a
5-minute break.
5-minute break before the finance committee meeting. So just after 8 o'clock.
A very brief and prompt 5 minutes. Council members, can you please take your seats? Council members, if we can please take your seats, we can get the Finance Committee meeting to order. Okay, I'd like to call the Monday, October 4th Finance Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you please take the roll?
Councilwoman Marino. Councilwoman Marino,
Present.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Present.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Riley,
Present.
Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Present.
Council President Paplaskas.
Present. I'll entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the last meeting.
So moved.
Any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano, Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Moving on, we have public hearings. Public hearings are now open. Is there anybody here from the public online that would like to speak on any of the docketed matters? Please raise your hand.
I see no public comment, Chairman.
And there are no members of the public in chambers. So that being said, I will close public comment. Moving on to new matters before the committee. I am the sponsor of 921-06, so I will turn this part of the meeting over to the vice chair.
Okay, we have an ordinance in amendment of chapter 3.24 of the Code of the City of Cranston entitled Revenue and Finance, Real Property for Tax Freeze for Elderly, sponsored by Council President Paplaskas. The floor is yours.
Motion to approve?
Thank you, Vice President Ferry. Okay, this ordinance here is to deal with real property tax freeze for elderly. Right now on our books, we have a tax freeze that kicks in when you're 65 and also if you meet some income requirements. Right now, the income requirements are set at 20,000 and 23,000. That goes back to March 23rd, 2010, when those were put into effect. And before that, it was 17,600 and 20,000. Before us in this ordinance, I have two numbers that I put in here, 32,000 and 36,320. I would like to make an amendment to adjust them slightly to match the HUD income limits for Providence County. That way it has a basis to go off of. So I do have an amendment on this ordinance. I'd like to amend line 32, where it says 32,000 to the amount of 30,300. And I'd like to amend the amount on line 34 to 34,600 and change the appropriate wording on those lines too. So 32,000 would go to 30,300, 34,600. So I'll make that in a form of a motion.
Do we have to withdraw the previous motion? No. Okay,
No.
do we have a motion to amend those numbers?
I'll second it. Or any discussion on?
Any
the-
discussion?
Through the chair to Director Strom, any comment, any input from yourself, Director?
Thank you, Councilman Donegan. Not really. We've had a discussion, Council President, myself, and our tax assessor. And our tax assessor provided to us, both the Council President and myself, those HUD limits that were in place right now for low-income type people who are disabled. As the Council President stated, this goes back to March of 2013, which is 8 years ago or so. And I feel confident that this is something that the administration would approve based on this ordinance. Also, the tax freeze applications they must be submitted on an annual basis, and they're approved by the assessors department. And even if the applicant is already participating, they have to submit every year. And obviously, there could be some new applications based on the income levels, and they'll be either approved or denied as well, depending on what they submit. And so I can't give you a count right now of what that would be, but with these limits increasing, hopefully people will take advantage of it.
Councilman Paplas, I would ask, could I be added as a sponsor to this? I think it's really important. I remember during tax season, a lot of people were struggling with the taxes and did reach out and say the income limits, needed to be updated. So I would love to be added as a sponsor.
Anybody who wants to sponsor, we're happy to have you. You want to just, everybody? Who doesn't want to be?
All in,
Not on the
all
committee,
in,
but I'd like to be added.
all in.
I think everybody's all in. Great. And then just to talk about the genesis of this discussion, I received a couple of phone calls when the tax evaluations went out, like Councilman Renzulli just said, and there were a couple of people that were eligible before for a tax freeze. And after cost of living has gone up, the numbers have stayed the same since 2010. It really boxed a lot of people out that should be eligible for the tax freeze. So hopefully this will help out some people in need and adjust the amount with the times. So I urge all passage, and I feel like it's going to pass because everybody sponsored it. Pass the floor back to Vice Chairman.
Do we have to get approval from the General Assembly to raise the threshold?
So there is state enabling legislation. I have spoken to a couple of reps and senators that have no problem in sponsoring this, so I don't see it being an issue. It wouldn't go into effect until the next budget anyways, so it gives us plenty of time to get that passed at the General Assembly and also fix this ordinance. Once this amended version passes, I'd like to continue this to the next month because there's another paragraph I have to amend that I missed that also has the amounts in it in the code.
Okay, so you want to amend the ordinance?
We have a motion.
And then you want to continue it.
Then continue it.
And then from that point on, would the HUD number always be the number that's used and we wouldn't have to continually?
When I submit
amend?
the second part of this, at the end of this month that I missed, I'm going to add that to it. That,
Okay.
And it's up to the committee to approve it, but I would like to try to put a mechanism in there where we'll always be using that HUD number. So that way this doesn't, 11 years doesn't pass again where this number is not like
Okay,
that.
understood. So we need to pass the amendment and then you're going to ask to continue it.
Correct.
All right. Councilman Donegan.
For the purposes of the process, would it, if it's part of the same code that we're working on right now, could you submit that as like a substitute before the full council?
I could, but I didn't prepare it this evening because I want to get that wording, really work on for the HUD numbers. I was going to submit it as new business in a couple of weeks and then just have both changes before the finance committee in their final version next month. So it was just an oversight. The last sentence or two of this long ordinance has the numbers again, and I didn't see it.
Any other discussion on the amendment? So Rose, could you please take a roll on the amendment?
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Renzulli,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes. I'd like, I don't think I can make the motion to continue because I sponsored it, but I'd like to see a motion to continue.
Motion to continue.
Is the floor back in your hands?
What's that?
Is the floor back in your hands or is it in mine?
You got one last vote.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Continue to when?
Just next month is fine because I'll have the second half. of this
Next month's
ordinance.
finance meeting? Motion to continue to next month's finance meeting.
Second. Rose, please, any discussion?
And we're continuing the amended version of the ordinance.
Okay, Rose, please take a roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you all for co-sponsoring this. I really appreciate it. Moving on to real estate tax abatements, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes. Next, we have the motor vehicle tax abatements. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Riley.
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes. Moving on, we have the tangible tax abatements. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes. Moving on, we have the Board of Review decisions assessed as of December 31st, 2020. This is informational only. No vote will be taken. Are there any questions for Director Strom? Director Strom, do you have anything to add on that? Okay, thank you. No questions. Moving on, we have the tax interest waiver approvals. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes. Next, we have an update on the ARPA money coming in and the utilization of it. I asked that this be kept on the docket, just in case there are any questions in between meetings. We just talked about it last Monday. I have no questions. Are there any from the council? Director Strom, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. I just want the committee to know and other council members that I received a email from the Treasury Department, and they were satisfied with what we submitted that was due, I believe it was the end of August. And what they've done now is we were supposed to be submitting another update of how we were spending the money by October 31st. Well, based on what they sent me, now it's through December 31st, 2021, to be submitted by January 31st, 2022. I do think, and this is my own opinion, I do think that some of the restrictions are going to start to ease a little bit. So hopefully we'll have a better understanding and I can report to the committee and council of some of the other things that we can possibly target. And right now, I gave you that scenario at I believe it was the last council meeting a week ago. And hopefully we'll be able to use the money for various other things as well.
Thank you, Director Strom. Any questions? There being none, we'll move on to adjournment. I'll entertain.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.